in Hamilton County between Bonnie Oaks and Lee Highway. TDOT working an accident there, multiple vehicles involved on that one. Red Bank on scene, Dayton Boulevard and Signal Mountain Road with an accident. Sheriff's Office in Lakeside on Dixon Pike and Dolphin Lane with an accident. Riverside Drive at Battery Place still there, working one there. Discovery Drive in front of Amazon, Chattanooga there. They're also on scene northbound 153 between Shepherd Road and Shaliford Road with an accident this morning as well. Mike Wood, the Traffic Center. Good morning. Hot News Talk Radio here, AM 1240.
67 degrees in Chattanooga from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center, and that's going all the way up to 75 today. 44 for the low. Today's going to be a lot colder than what we had yesterday. Yesterday felt almost like summer, but today and tomorrow are both going to be cooling off, actually. 75 and 73 for our highs today and tomorrow, 44 and 45 for our lows. Mostly going to be clear, not a very big chance of rain at all. That's going to start on Friday and Saturday with highs in the 70s and then down to 61 on Saturday, 39 for the low. Chance of rain on Saturday, not looking very good in terms of that rain, and especially that temperature is not very favorable for us either. Sunday, 57 for the high, 33 for the low. It's possible that we could be seeing temperatures below freezing in higher elevations. If you're on signal or lookout, then you might want to be careful of icing on the roads, especially. That's always a big problem on the mountains. Monday, 62 for the high, 37 for the low, and Tuesday, 70 for the high, 45 for the low. Going into next week, we are seeing the temperatures going up into the 70s again, but rain is going to be starting to come in again next weekend, so keep that in mind. Looks like weekend rain is expected as a continuing trend, actually, for the next few weeks. So keep that in mind if you're going to be traveling again. On Saturday, it is going to be raining with not a whole lot of rain, but a very high chance of rain. And then Sunday, lows potentially going down into freezing. Monday morning, we could be having some freezing temperatures, so keep that in mind. That's your weather update from us here at the Weather Center at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com. We're always here at the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone. That's TuneIn Radio on your smartphone, where you can always listen to us live on your smartphone. Well, the juvenile who's being charged with aggravated rape and assault in that Sevier County case, the Gatlinburg Ottawa High School rape case, as it's commonly called, has decided, the judge has decided that he will be tried as a juvenile, not as an adult. This is a new decision that came out yesterday. Sevier County juvenile judge on Tuesday afternoon declined to order a former Ottawa High School basketball player to be tried as an adult on rape and assault charges involving several freshman teammates. Judge Dwight Stokes and juvenile court said that juvenile court was much better to rehabilitate the youth, who has since turned 18. He said the case will be tried in juvenile court, where the accused will face much less punishment than he would in criminal court. He declined to consider bond for the youth, however. Of course, this comes after a very heated testimony and accusations of perjury as well from the DA to one detective from Sevier County. There's been a lot of intrigue going on with this case. And of course, there's the retirement of Superintendent Rick Smith, which is undoubtedly connected to this case as well. This case has caused a lot of problems for the Hamilton County school system, and we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Of course, him being tried as an adult means that, or as a juvenile, means there's not going to be able to be as much press coverage, because they generally don't allow cameras in the juvenile courtroom. But we'll keep you updated nevertheless on any developments that come out of this case here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and we are always here at hotnewstalkradio.com as well. If you want to get fit, make sure you go to Pounds Gym. That's LBS Gym, Pounds Gym in Saudi Daisy. It's a brand new 24/7 gym for members in Saudi Daisy. Go to lbsgym.fit for more information and a virtual tour of what's going on in the Tennessee Valley. It's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing the new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
In the middle of our street, Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780 or visit our website at SabrinaRealty.com.
Expect more warm spring-like weather for your Wednesday. We'll see some sunshine mixing with a few clouds, becoming a little breezy, highs mid-70s. Tonight, lows only to the mid-50s. For Thursday, back into the mid-70s. Could see a shower or two Thursday night with more breezy and warm weather for Friday. The Fresh All New Wine Conference at Abba's House continues today and tomorrow. Pastor Ron Phillips welcomes Perry Stone, Tommy Bates, and others for this week of encouragement and renewal. For more, FONW.com. And I'm Swarm 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio. Go, 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 go.
You're listening to America's Morning News.
Good Wednesday morning. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on this 16th day of March, 34 minutes past the hour. I'm Matt Ray. Here's what we're following this morning.
This is another Super Tuesday for our campaign.
Nobody has ever in the history of politics received the kind of negative advertising that I have.
Trump and Clinton move closer to a potential fall showdown.
This tragedy happened on my watch. I did not make the catastrophic decision to provide drinking water without corrosion control treatment.
Finger pointing at a congressional hearing on Flint's water crisis.
I will be traveling next week to Moscow to meet with President Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in order to discuss how we can effectively move the political process forward.
Cautious optimism over Russia's partial withdrawal from Syria. We're crossing the nation and sweeping the globe to bring you all of today's top stories. And we start with breaking news out of Washington. President Barack Obama says he'll announce his Supreme Court nominee in a Rose Garden ceremony this morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. He's not naming the pick ahead of time, but the subject line of an email to supporters says, quote, "I've made my decision." There's a vacancy on the 9-member court due to the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. Senate Republicans have said they won't consider an Obama nominee in an election year. They want the next president to make that choice. Well, the next president, we're getting closer to the eventual nominees. GOP frontrunner Donald Trump, he won big in Tuesday's primaries. He says despite the millions and millions spent against him, he's bringing together voters from all demographics. He said Tuesday during a victory rally at his home in Florida that Republicans, Democrats, and first-time voters are supporting him despite what he called the negative coverage.
Nobody has ever in the history of politics received the kind of negative advertising that I have. Record. By the way, mostly false. I wouldn't say 100%, but about 90%. Mostly false, vicious, horrible. They say it was 18 million the first week, meaning last week, and 25 million. It added up to over $40 million. And you explained it to me because I can't. My numbers went up. I don't understand it. Nobody understands it. It's an amazing process. It's very tough, but it is by the end, if you get to the end, you can handle a lot of things, including pressure. That I can tell you, because there's nothing like it. Lies, deceit, viciousness, disgusting reporters, horrible people. Sure. Some are nice. Some are nice. Some really disgusting people back there. They have to.
His route in Florida, home of Marco Rubio, effectively ended the senator's White House bid. Meanwhile, Texas Senator Ted Cruz lost the major winner-take-all contest Tuesday in Florida and Ohio, but he says it was a good night. The GOP presidential candidate telling a group of supporters that he'd like former Marco Rubio supporters to get behind him.
Tonight, we continue to gain delegates and continue our march to 1,237. And after tonight, America now has a clear choice going forward. Let me say a word about Marco Rubio. Marco is a friend. He's a colleague. He ran a strong, optimistic, positive campaign. To those who supported Marco, who worked so hard, we welcome you with open arms. Every Republican has a clear choice. Only two campaigns have a plausible path to the nomination, ours and Donald Trump's. Nobody else has any mathematical possibility whatsoever. Only one campaign has beaten Donald Trump over and over and over again.
I didn't name Ohio Governor John Kasich, who did capture his home state on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Senator Bernie Sanders is looking past Tuesday's losses to rival Hillary Clinton, who won at least 4 of 5. Missouri too close to call in not only the Democratic primary, but the Republican as well. In a speech to supporters in Phoenix, Sanders barely discussed the contests.
This campaign is doing well because we are listening to the American people and not just wealthy campaign contributors. The reason that Donald Trump will never be elected president is the American people will not accept insults to Mexicans, Muslims, or women. Now, the Congress may not talk about it much. The media may not talk about it much. But it is unacceptable to me and the American people when the top 0.1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. Next week, Arizona has a very important election. We will win. We will win if the voter turnout is high. Let's make it high. Thank you all very much.
Clinton now has 2/3 of the delegates needed to clinch the Democratic nomination. Politico reporting this morning that the Sanders camp plans on reaching out to superdelegates who can choose any candidate that they want. Well, an American contractor who was held as a political prisoner in Cuba for 5 years says Congress needs to grow a pair and lift the U.S. embargo on Cuba. Alan Gross made the comments to the National Press Club on Tuesday, a week before President Obama travels to Cuba to meet with President Raul Castro.
From Cuba, the embargo is called El Bloqueo and blamed by the Cuban government for all of Cuba's economic and physical woes. It's caca del toro. It's baloney. Cuba trades with more than 80 countries around the world, and the U.S. is among Cuba's top 5 trading partners. El Bloqueo, the embargo, is caca del toro. No, the real problem is productivity. How productive can a workforce be when the national monthly average income on a per capita basis is $18.20? If the U.S. wants the government of Cuba to get out of the way of the island's emerging private sector, then the U.S. government also needs to get out of the way. Congress needs to grow a pair, cry me a river, build me a bridge, and get over the failure of the embargo by lifting it.
Gross was jailed in 2009 for importing banned satellite communications equipment to Cuba. It was part of a U.S. effort to help Cubans get online. Speaking of online, gamers are salivating over Sony's version of virtual reality. It will cost a few $100 less than its competitors when its headset is released. The head of Sony Computer Entertainment, Andrew House, announced the price tag and release date for PlayStation VR on Tuesday during the Game Developers Conference.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that PlayStation VR will launch globally in October 2016 for $399. Within our walls, the excitement for delivering VR as a brand new medium for games reminds me of the anticipation we all had when building the original PlayStation. One could argue that VR is a natural evolution of the experiences that we at PlayStation constantly strive to deliver to gamers.
Now, PlayStation VR's debut follows the launches of Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. The Rift will be available March 28th for $599. The Vive will be released April 5th for $799. They both require high-end PCs in order to work. Speaking of tech, we will discuss more of the Sony version of virtual reality up next with our tech expert, Clark Reed. You've got America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks.
America's Morning News. America's Morning News. We'll be right back.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Traffic and weather together at 7:44. Good morning, Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
Thanks, Russell. Going to Dayton Boulevard and Red Bank and Signal Mountain Road with an accident now. Riverside Drive at Battery Place. One there, one on Discovery Drive in front of Amazon this morning. 153 southbound. Multiple vehicles between Bonnie Oaks and Lee Highway this morning as well. If your business is suffering from employee theft, Acumen Polygraph helps out with discreet investigative support. You have questions, now they get answers at Acumen, ACUMEN Polygraph.com, 355-5396. Mike Wood, good morning from the Traffic Center, Hot News Talk Radio at AM 1240.
65 degrees in Chattanooga from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center, and it's going all the way up to 75 today. Still going to be a lot colder than what we had yesterday. Yesterday felt almost like August. It was amazing. But still, going to be cool this week for the rest of the week, actually. 44 for our low today. And Thursday, 73 for the high, 45 for a low and clear. Friday, 70 for the high, 44 for the low. Partly cloudy with rain expected on Friday and Saturday as well. Saturday, 61 for the high, 39 for the low. Chance of rain. Sunday, 57 for the high, 33 for the low and clear. Monday, 62 is the high, 37 the low, and clear. And then continuing out to the rest of this week, it is mostly just going, or next week, mostly going to be seeing highs in the 60s and 70s, low 70s, lows in the upper 30s, all the way up to eventually the 50s by the middle of next week. That's your weather update from us here at the Weather Center at Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. I want to give you a little bit of an update on the primary results, just because it's not really been talked about too much. The primary results, Donald Trump, of course, has 621 delegates. Ted Cruz in second with 396. Kasich making a surprising move in Ohio, winning Ohio, although, of course, in Ohio, that's not particularly surprising because he is the governor of that state. Rubio suspended his campaign with 168 delegates. Interestingly enough, that's actually more than what John Kasich has. So Rubio is more successful than Kasich, and yet he suspended his campaign, while Kasich is, for some reason, being looked at as potentially the front runner in the Republican nomination, although that does not seem particularly likely. Donald Trump, again, with 621 pledged delegates. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton, 1,561 delegates, including superdelegates, and Bernie Sanders has 800 pledged candidates so far, with only a few superdelegates on his side, mostly from Vermont. We'll keep you updated, of course, on the election as it is continuing in the primaries, of course, here on Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. A former receptionist has been charged after police say she stole money from the Tennessee State Veterans Home. She's a former receptionist, and she was working at a comptroller. After a comptroller's investigation, it was discovered that she had stolen at least $7,906 from the Tennessee State Veterans Home in Murfreesboro. The investigation was conducted in conjunction with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Investigators found that she stole money that she collected from visitors and staff who pre-purchased meals from the Veterans Home cafeteria, according to the accusations. She admitted to taking some of the money for her personal use, falsifying account records, and destroying receipts as well. She has been arrested, and if anyone who suspects fraud is asked to call the Tennessee Comptroller's office at 800-232-5454. That's 800-232-5454 if you ever suspect fraud. She was charged with theft under $10,000 and one count of making false entries in books or records. She's indicted into the Rutherford County Jail. And we'll keep you updated, of course, on what's happening in Sevier County, where right now the juvenile has been declared to be tried as a juvenile. He's actually 18 years old, legally an adult, but the judge in Sevier County has decided to try him as a juvenile. This is referring to the Ottawa rape case, and we'll keep you updated on that here on Hot News Talk Radio. Make sure you go to Pound's Gym. That's lbsgym.fit's the website. Saudi Daisy's brand new 24/7 gym. That's lbsgym.fit for more info and a virtual tour. What's going on in the Tennessee Valley is going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect more warm spring-like weather for your Wednesday. We'll see some sunshine mixing with a few clouds, becoming a little breezy, highs mid-70s. Tonight, lows only to the mid-50s. For Thursday, back into the mid-70s. Could see a shower or two Thursday night with more breezy and warm weather for Friday. The Fresh All New Wine Conference at Abba's House continues today and tomorrow. Pastor Ron Phillips welcomes Perry Stone, Tommy Bates, and others for this week of encouragement and renewal. For more, FONW.com. And I'm Swarsheen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
MLS 2239. What would you do with all that cash? Listen up, y'all. Ben Phillips here. Home Rate Mortgage. 805-9100. $1,200. That's how much we just put back in a Saudi Daisy family's pocket per month. All they did was pick up the phone. 805-9100. That's 805-9100. Get that quick quote now. 805-9100. HomeRateMortgage.com. MLS 2239. Do you want to achieve the American dream in 2016? Listen up, y'all. I'm Ben Phillips with Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. We just helped a police officer purchase his first home in East Brainerd. Now he's grilling and chilling on his back deck. The American dream. You could achieve it with no money down options. Why wouldn't you call? 805-9100, HomeRateMortgage.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Good Wednesday morning. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on this 16th day of March. I'm Matt Ray. Here's what we're following. As we just mentioned, gamers salivating over Sony's version of virtual reality. It's going to cost a few hundred less than its competitors. The head of Sony Computer Entertainment announcing the price tag and release date for the PlayStation VR on Tuesday. Let's bring in the tech expert. Clark Reed joins us each Wednesday this hour here on America's Morning News. His website is clarkreed.me. It's where you go to get your tech news. Hey, Clark, how are you on this Wednesday morning?
Hey there. Good morning, man. Here we are. We made it through the Ides of March, so we're ready to go.
Yes, sir. We did. Let's talk about this Sony headset, this virtual reality, if you will. What's so special about this?
Well, there's several things, in my opinion, none the least of which you already mentioned, and that's the price point. And it's not just the price of the VR system. It's going to be $399, and that does not include the camera, which is another $45. But still, Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive are $599 and $799, and on top of that, you've got to have a pretty hefty PC system in order to use the VR. That's the advantage I see with Sony. You know, it's going to be plug and play.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this seems like a no-brainer. I wonder why other game consoles haven't thought about this. Do we know if Xbox, Microsoft is working on something like this?
Microsoft is working on a VR project. I don't know much about it. No one else does at this point, but I would not be surprised if they won't roll it out. The thing is, with a gaming system, you already have an extremely powerful processor for video. And that's what people are having to pay for with a beefed up, PC system. So it's a natural for VR. It's probably the best entree into the VR world is a gaming system. I would look for Microsoft to follow suit pretty soon.
Yeah, I was talking to my producer, David Milligan, off the air here about, I remember when the original PlayStation came out, and I was blown away by the graphics. Well, I'm not going to lie, I have a lot of toys in my home studio at home, and an Xbox was turned on the other day, and I had left the room and then come back. I came back, and I was unaware that the Xbox was on. And I looked up and said, "Oh, there's a basketball game on TV." No, it was in demo mode. And it looked like I was watching a real basketball game. So, yeah, it seems like a no-brainer for the virtual reality.
I think it is. In fact, I would go so far as we've already reported that we think that virtual reality may be the next operating system. Well, I think a couple of the drivers will be A, gaming systems, and B, the automobile for virtual reality.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of the automobile, Lyft in competition with Uber, General Motors and Lyft have teamed up for kind of a not unique team up here, but I mean, you won't have to have your own car if you work for Lyft.
That's right, and this is really a game changer. General Motors, a couple of months ago, dropped $500 million into Lyft, and now we're seeing why. They're going to start supplying rental cars. Drivers won't have to own a car, which there's about 100,000 people signed up that would like to drive for Lyft but don't have a car. GM's going to put out 125 Chevrolet Equinoxes. They'll be in the Chicago area initially. Drivers can rent them for up to 8 weeks, and they'll cost $99 a week and 20 cents a mile, up to free for drivers that are going to drive 65 trips a week, which is a lot. But the keeper is Lyft and GM are going to pay for the maintenance and the insurance. The driver doesn't. Wow.
Yeah, that's definitely a game changer when you're talking about its competitor Uber. What is this tunable glass? I mean, what the heck is it, and what would we even do with it, Clark?
Well, tunable glass has been around a while, but it's hard to make and really expensive. But some smarty scientists at Harvard have invented a new way to build this stuff. It's the sheet of glass in between a couple of sheets of clear elastomer sprayed with a coat of nanowire, silver nanowire. You turn on the electrical current, and boom, it turns opaque in less than a second. Now they're working on getting it to work with a little bit less current, but basically you wouldn't need shades or blinds or curtains in your house.
Yeah. What about a power outage?
Well, that's my big question. With a power outage, you suddenly might find yourself literally with your pants down. So you might not want to walk around naked, if there's a storm coming, I would say.
Yeah, check the weather forecast before you do laundry there. What is this Amazon doing away with passwords? I mean, Amazon is making it so now you can pay for your product with a selfie. What is this all about?
Yeah, I think it's the continued escalation. You have over at Google, they've added, like, for example, Facebook at Work and some other services to do their single password login now. Well, Amazon's taken a different route. You would take a selfie picture, and by the way, Amazon already has a companion patent for this, for the back end of verifying your photo. And that way, if you're out walking around the street, you see something you wanted to buy, or you're with some friends, you can click on buy, and you don't have to key in your password. No one can steal your password because it's your face.
Huh. Interesting. And of course, Apple, the big event coming up here. Anything? Do we know anything about Apple's next event?
We don't know a heck of a lot. We're sure they're going to introduce the new 4-inch iPhone 5 SE. Well, it's the iPhone SE, actually, no 5. Basically, though, it's an iPhone 5 box, only with iPhone 6 guts in it. It'll have the iPhone 6 camera. It'll have the A9 and M9 processors from the iPhone 6S. So it'll be able to do most of the stuff the latest bigger Apple phones can do.
That's very cool. March 21st, huh?
Yeah, it's coming up, and they also have the new 9.7-inch iPad Pro, which will be able to use a stylus. I already have a friend that's a geek that's going to buy one that he can use in his work. So,
and it's not your cat, right?
Yeah, right.
Most people like to watch cat videos. Clark's cats are very tech savvy.
Yeah, I have a cat that touches the screen and starts videos right in front of me. I don't know what to do with him. I don't know.
He's not getting an iPad though, huh, Clark?
No.
I saw that. I saw that and just it cracked me up. Most people like to watch cat videos. Your cat actually knows how to operate them. He's very tech savvy. So are his animals. Clark Reed joins us each Wednesday here on America's Morning News. The website, clarkreed.me. Clark, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Thanks, Matt.
All right. If you're traveling and can't find us in your area, we stream live at talkstreamlive.com. Our producer is David Milligan. You've got America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks.
You're listening to America's Morning News.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect more warm spring-like weather for your Wednesday. We'll see some sunshine mixing with a few clouds, becoming a little breezy, highs mid-70s. Tonight, lows only to the mid-50s. For Thursday, back into the mid-70s. Could see a shower or two Thursday night with more breezy and warm weather for Friday. The Fresh All New Wine Conference at Abba's House continues today and tomorrow. Pastor Ron Phillips welcomes Perry Stone, Tommy Bates, and others for this week of encouragement and renewal. For more, FONW.com. And I'm Swarsh 12's Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network. The voice of NASCAR.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy, Chattanooga.
President set to reveal Supreme Court pick.
A Rose Garden announcement this morning.
Trump and Clinton win big.
We're going to win, and we're not stopping.
This is another Super Tuesday.
Kasich stops Trump in Ohio.
We are going to go all the way to Cleveland and secure the Republican nomination.
Rubio out after Florida loss.
While we are on the right side, we will not be on the winning side.
Good morning. I'm Steve Kathan with the CBS World News Roundup. The start of what figures to be an epic political struggle begins in 3 hours. President Obama is set to announce his Supreme Court nominee, the person he wants to succeed the late Antonin Scalia. Let's go live to the White House and CBS's Pam Coulter.
Steve, the much-anticipated announcement will be made in the Rose Garden after a month of deliberation by the president. In a statement this morning, he reiterated his criteria for selecting a justice, someone with unimpeachable credentials who has a commitment to impartial justice and also understands how decisions affect the reality of people's lives. 2 appeals court judges were believed to be on the short list: Sri Srinivasan, who would be the first Indian American on the High Court, and Chief Judge Merrick Garland, both on the D.C. Circuit.
I'm Stephen Portnoy on Capitol Hill. Senate Republicans have insisted for weeks now they won't act on an Obama nominee, no matter who it is.
This is the beauty of our system of checks and balances.
But Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley will face increasing pressure from Democrats to hold hearings. Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid.
Constitution isn't some ball that you pick up and take home just because you're still mad at President Obama.
Because he's the president.
Democrats point out several Supreme Court nominees have been rejected, but the Senate has never refused to act on a nomination.
On the presidential campaign trail, it was a big night for the frontrunners Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. They scored key wins in battleground states. Trump winning GOP primaries in Florida, Illinois, and North Carolina. Clinton took those three for the Democrats and Ohio, too. Our CBS News team coverage begins with CBS's Major Garrett with the Trump campaign.
We're going to go forward. And we're going to win, but more importantly, we're going to win for the country.
Donald Trump celebrated big swing state victories Tuesday night and paused to ponder the question that's vexed his opponents: why attacks against him don't appear to stick.
My numbers went up. I don't understand it. Nobody understands it. My numbers went up.
Trump won Florida handily. Typically, that cements a Republican's hold on the nomination. Not this year.
This is Steve Futterman in Cleveland. It was a race John Kasich had to win, and he did win.
I have to thank the people of the great state of Ohio. I love you.
And it wasn't even that close. Kasich beat Donald Trump by 11%, and he immediately tried to position himself as the anti-Trump.
I will not take the low road to the highest office in the land.
Kasich still has to prove he isn't a one-state wonder. Ohio, after all, is his home state. His win, though, could lead to an open convention by preventing Trump from having a majority of delegates. Kasich last night sounded confident.
We are going to go all the way and secure the Republican nomination.
I'm Peter King in Miami. Marco Rubio spoke for about 10 minutes before making the inevitable announcement.
While it is not God's plan that I be president in 2016 or maybe ever, and while today my campaign is suspended, the fact that I've even come this far is evidence of how special America truly is.
It was a special night for Hillary Clinton, her most dominant night so far. She took 4 of 5 primaries, plus she has a slim lead over Bernie Sanders in Missouri. CBS's Nancy Cordes is up the Florida coast in West Palm Beach.
Thank you, Florida. Thank you, North Carolina. Thank you, Ohio.
As Clinton celebrated, Sanders didn't even mention his losses to a crowd of more than 7,000 in Arizona. But he made it clear he plans to go on.
Phoenix, are you ready for a political revolution?
According to CBS News exit poll results, voters in all 5 states said Clinton would make a better commander-in-chief than Sanders, and that her plans are more realistic. The sweep was a huge relief for Clinton, who openly worried earlier in the day that her voters were getting complacent.
Results in Missouri for both parties still too close to call. 4 minutes after the hour.
Listen to the news right now in your car with the CBS Radio News app. Just download our free app to your iOS or Android device to stream the news you need on Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Listen to the latest news right now, or to your favorites like Face the Nation and the Weekend Roundup. The
Nooganomics.com. You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect more warm spring-like weather for your Wednesday. We'll see some sunshine mixing with a few clouds, becoming a little breezy, highs mid-70s. Tonight, lows only to the mid-50s. For Thursday, back into the mid-70s. Could see a shower or two Thursday night with more breezy and warm weather for Friday. The Fresh All New Wine Conference at Abba's House continues today and tomorrow. Pastor Ron Phillips welcomes Perry Stone, Tommy Bates, and others for this week of encouragement and renewal. For more, FONW.com. And I'm Swarsheen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network.
News Talk 1240.
Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station. News Talk 1240.
Live from coast to coast, America's morning news is on the air. All the breaking news you need is right here. And now, the host of America's Morning News, Matt Ray.
Good Wednesday morning, 6 minutes past the hour. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on the 16th day of March. Here's what we're following today.
This is another Super Tuesday for our campaign.
Nobody has ever in the history of politics received the kind of negative advertising that I have.
Trump and Clinton move closer to a potential fall showdown.
This tragedy happened on my watch. I did not make the catastrophic decision to provide drinking water without corrosion control treatment.
Finger pointing at a congressional hearing on Flint's water crisis.
I will be traveling next week to Moscow to meet with President Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in order to discuss how we can effectively move the political process forward.
Cautious optimism over Russia's partial withdrawal from Syria. We're crossing the nation and sweeping the globe to bring you all of today's top stories. And we start with 5 things to know on this Wednesday morning. Donald Trump emerging from 5 state primaries with more momentum toward the nomination. Trump won 3 of the 5 states, including Marco Rubio's home state of Florida. That forced Rubio out of the race. Ohio Governor John Kasich came up big in his home state. Meanwhile, Missouri's too close to call between Trump and Ted Cruz. The Democratic contest also too close to call in Missouri, but Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton took the other 4 delegate-rich states. A University of Virginia student's been sentenced to 15 years of hard labor in North Korea for trying to steal a propaganda banner from a hotel. 21-year-old Otto Warmbier was given the sentence by North Korea's highest court today. He had said that he wanted the banner as a trophy for the mother of a friend. He says he was offered a used car if he could take it. Residents are evacuating homes in southeast Texas as rivers continue rising from days of heavy rains. Authorities are warning of record flooding not seen since 1884 along the Sabine River, which serves as a border between Texas and Louisiana. Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued a disaster declaration to cross much of the region. He plans to tour it today. The Fed Reserve is widely expected to wait and see whether the U.S. economic picture warrants another rate hike. The Fed wraps up its latest policy meeting today and then issues its statement. Its characterization of the U.S. and global economies and financial markets could provide clues to the timing and pace of future rate hikes. And the Obama administration says it won't allow drilling in the Atlantic Ocean. It reverses a proposal made last year when the administration floated a plan that would have opened up a broad area of the Atlantic to drilling. Tuesday's announcement is being hailed by environmentalists and condemned by the oil and gas industry. The about-face comes after protests from people in the affected states. In your news this morning, Donald Trump marking his latest string of victories by saying he's bringing new voters to the Republican Party. Trump said Tuesday during a victory rally at his home in Florida that the world is watching his campaign.
We have to bring our party together. We have to bring it together. We have something happening that actually makes the Republican Party probably the biggest political story anywhere in the world. Everybody's writing about it all over Europe, all over the world. They're talking about it. Millions of people are coming in to vote. We have a great opportunity, and the people that are voting are Democrats are coming in, independents are coming in, and very, very importantly, people that never voted before. It's an incredible thing.
Trump's win in Florida ending Senator Marco Rubio's White House bid. A Pennsylvania grand jury concluding that 3 former Franciscan leaders allowed a friar who was a known sexual predator to take jobs, including as a high school athletic trainer. They say it enabled him to molest more than 100 children. Charges against the 3, including child endangerment, were announced Tuesday by State Attorney General Kathleen Kane. It follows a nearly 2-year grand jury investigation.
The significance of this Johnstown case, the significance of the Brother Baker case is that the light is shining in. We spent decades hiding sexual abuse, decades where children were afraid to go to their parents, children were afraid to report teachers, children were afraid to report abuses by priests. We spent decades hiding it. That is over.
Now, the 3 supervised brother Stephen Baker, who was accused of molesting children at Bishop McCourt High School in Jonestown and schools in Ohio. Baker killed himself in 2013. Records show the 3 leaders still have pastoral duties within the Roman Catholic Church. New York City restaurants with outdoor tables will soon be able to welcome 4-legged guests under new rules announced by the city health department. The regulations will permit dogs that are licensed and vaccinated against rabies to join their human chow hounds at participating restaurants. The state legislature passing a law last year allowing municipalities to set their own rules about it. The assembly woman who sponsored the measure says she's pleased that the city health department threw dog lovers a bone. If you're traveling and cannot find us in your area, we stream live at TalkStreamLive.com. We're also on the TalkStream Live mobile app. Just download that from your mobile device's app store. You can always reach out to me on Twitter or on Facebook. I'm at Matt Ray Talk. Use the hashtag AMN. No social media, no problem. You can also find me at MattRayTalk.com. More breaking news on the way. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump moving closer to a potential fall showdown. The very latest up next. This hour of America's Morning News brought to you by Money Metals Exchange, America's #1 gold and silver dealer, MoneyMetals.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Traffic and weather together at 8:12. Good morning, Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
Hey, Russell, morning. Thank you. Couple things on 153, one at Northgate Mall Drive, one at Shepherd Road this morning as well. And TDOT out on 153 southbound between Bonnie Oaks and Lee Highway with an accident right now as well. Mike Wood, the Traffic Center. Good morning. Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240.
It's 67 degrees in Chattanooga from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center, and it's going all the way up to 75 by the end of the day. 75 for the high, 44 for the low. Partly cloudy. Not really anything major going on in terms of weather for today. That's going to start happening on Saturday, where there's a higher chance of rain, and could be seeing some higher winds going on as well on Saturday. Thursday through Friday, not too bad. 70s, lows in the 40s, small chance of rain on Friday. Our weekend is looking to be chillier than we have been having, and some rain is expected. So keep that in mind if you're going to be traveling over the weekend. Sunday, going to be really cold in the morning as you're going to church. 57 for the high, 30 for the low, 33 for the low, I should say. And in higher elevations, it's possible that we'll be seeing some ice actually on Monday morning, because again, that low is 33 on Monday morning. So it's very possible we'll be actually getting some ice in the higher elevations. So be very careful if you're going to be driving at all in higher elevations, particularly Signal and Lookout Mountains. I'm worried about. Tuesday through Friday of next week actually looking pretty good. Highs in the 70s again, and then lows in the 50s. Chance of rain next weekend too. Looks to be a continuing trend. That's your weather update from us here at the Weather Center at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Make sure you get the Bloom Sky app for your smartphone. That's Bloom Sky on your smartphone. Just search for the Chattanooga area, and you'll be able to see all of your weather updates here from us at the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. The Chattanooga police are right now searching for a carjacking suspect near the Tennessee-Georgia line in St. Elmo. Apparently, the carjacking happened at Gun Barrel Road, the Walmart on Gun Barrel, right near the mall, and the police are still looking for that carjacking suspect. A description of the car has not yet come in. And don't forget that at 11 o'clock, the president will be announcing his Supreme Court nominee this morning at 11 o'clock a.m. We'll continue to bring you coverage of that here on Hot News Talk Radio. The Sevier County juvenile judge has declined to order the Ottawa basketball player who's accused in the Ottawa rape case to be tried as an adult. He will not be tried as an adult. He will be tried as a juvenile in this case. Judge Dwight Stokes in Sevier County said the juvenile court was a much better option to rehabilitate the youth, who has since turned 18 since the incident happened. He said that the case will be tried in juvenile court, where the accused will be far much less punished, which is far much less punishment than in criminal court for an adult. He declined at the time to consider bond for the youth as well. Of course, this is following the very troubled Ottawa rape case, where lots of odd happenstances have been occurring. There's been a major shakeup within the county school board as well, with the superintendent of Hamilton County Schools, Rick Smith, announcing his retirement just on Monday. We'll keep you updated, of course, on any developments that come out of this case here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. A 19-year-old is now facing charges after a shootout which caused a 14-year-old boy to be injured. He took a bullet to the leg. Gary Cross was arrested last week on charges of reckless endangerment and possession of a firearm with the intent to go armed. On February the 21st, a privately owned surveillance system captured video of a man who appeared to be Cross firing shots at a maroon sedan. Well, now he's been sent to court. At the end of the hearing, Judge Statham determined to increase Cross's bond relating to his December firearm charge of $2,000 to $6,000, thus placing Cross back in custody until he paid the difference of $4,000. She said if he made the new bond, he would have to get a GPS monitoring on his ankle with house arrest until he returned to court, and he would still go to school and to church, the judge says. We'll keep you updated on this case. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio. Be sure to go to Pound's Gym. lbsgym.fit is the website. New 24/7 gym in Saudi days.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect more warm spring-like weather for your Wednesday. We'll see some sunshine mixing with a few clouds, becoming a little breezy, highs mid-70s. Tonight, lows only to the mid-50s. For Thursday, back into the mid-70s. Could see a shower or two Thursday night with more breezy and warm weather for Friday. The Fresh Oil New Wine Conference at Abba's House continues today and tomorrow. Pastor Ron Phillips welcomes Perry Stone, Tommy Bates, and others for this week of encouragement and renewal. For more, FONW.com. And I'm Swarsh Gene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
When pipes drip and rot the floor, Ray sends all leaks straight to the door. To fix my pipes, he sure does plumb. Unclog my John, make shop hum. It's good old Ray, his wrench has fun. 421-6341. Your plumbing's busted, here Ray come. Call 421-6341. In crawl space low, he does yet stoop. Fixing pipe and woe to poop. Ray's the plumber, call him now. With coin but few, he'll please and how. 421-6341. It's good old Ray, a beam of sun. 421-6341. 421-6341.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
You're listening to America's Morning News.
Good Wednesday morning. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on the 16th day of March. I'm Matt Ray. Here's what we're following this morning, including superdelegates. Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton now has a total of at least 1,561. That's 66% of the total needed to win the Democratic nomination. Her rival, Senator Bernie Sanders, has at least 800. Clinton grabbed 4 out of 5 states on Tuesday, with Missouri still too close to call.
When we hear a candidate for president call for rounding up 12 million immigrants, banning all Muslims from entering the United States, when he embraces torture, that doesn't make him strong, it makes him wrong. To be great, we can't be small. We can't lose what made America great in the first place. And this isn't just about Donald Trump. All of us have to do our part. For all of our challenges, I've never had more faith in our future. And if we work together, if we go forward in this campaign, if we win in November, I know our future will be brighter tomorrow than yesterday. Thank you all so very much.
Now, according to Politico, the Sanders camp plans to reach out to superdelegate holders. Those are activists and elected officials who can vote however they please. He also has a lot of money left in the coffers as well. That might be his last stand, though. Meanwhile, Republican Marco Rubio says he knows voters are angry and that there is a hunger for new faces and voices in government. Rubio ended his campaign Tuesday night after losing his home state of Florida to frontrunner Donald Trump.
While it is not God's plan that I be president in 2016 or maybe ever, and while today my campaign is suspended, the fact that I've even come this far is evidence of how special America truly is. And all the reason more why we must do all we can to ensure that this nation remains a special place. We had a great team. We have a great team, and I'm so grateful for all the help that you guys have given us. I just want you to know there's nothing more you could have done. You worked as hard as anyone worked. I want you to know we worked as hard as we ever could. People are frustrated. In 2007 and 2008, there was a horrible downturn in our economy. And these changes to our economy that are happening are disrupting people's lives. And people are very upset about it. And they're told that, people are angry, they're frustrated, they're being left behind by this economy. And then they're told, look, if you're against illegal immigration, that makes you a bigot. And if you see jobs and businesses leaving to other countries, you have no right to be frustrated. The politics of resentment against other people will not just leave us a fractured party. They're going to leave us a fractured nation. They're going to leave us as a nation where people literally hate each other because they have different political opinions.
Now, Rubio's decision to drop out prompted by losses in all but 3 of the nomination contests. It's a tight race in Missouri on the Republican side, too. You have Donald Trump and Ted Cruz neck and neck. Still, Trump scored victories Tuesday in North Carolina, Illinois, and Florida. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says Republican frontrunner Donald Trump needs to condemn violence, no matter who's responsible. McConnell told reporters on Tuesday he spoke with the candidate this week.
Donald Trump called this morning, had a good conversation, and I appreciated his call. And I took the opportunity to recommend to him that no matter who may be triggering these violent expressions or conflicts that we've seen in some of these rallies, it might be a good idea to condemn that and discourage it, no matter what the source of it. Yes. He called me. I assume it was just sort of to reach out, and we had a good conversation, and I mentioned to him that I thought it'd be a good idea for him, no matter who starts these violent episodes, to condemn it and discourage it.
Now, earlier in the day, Trump backed away from a suggestion he might cover legal costs for a supporter who was caught on video punching a protester in the face. That supporter has been charged with assault. Trump at the time said he'd asked his, quote, people to look into it, that meaning paying the fees. But on ABC's Good Morning America on Tuesday, he said, quote, I never said I was going to pay for fees. Police in Pakistan say a bomb blast has ripped through a bus carrying government employees in the northwestern city of Peshawar. At least 15 people are dead, 40 are wounded. No one's claimed responsibility. Suspicion likely, though, to fall on the Pakistani Taliban and their allied militants. Google disclosing how much of the traffic to its search engine and other services is being protected from hackers. It's part of its push to encrypt all security online. Company statistics revealed this week 77% of the requests sent to Google's data centers are encrypted. That's up from 52% at the end of 2013. Those numbers exclude YouTube. Encryption, of course, a security measure that scrambles transmitted information, so it's unintelligible if it's encrypted by a third party. Google's highlighting its progress while the FBI and Apple are locked in a court battle over access to an iPhone used by one of the 2 extremist killers behind the mass shootings in San Bernardino, California in December. An American contractor who was held as a political prisoner in Cuba for 5 years says Congress needs to grow a pair and lift the U.S. embargo. Alan Gross made the comments to the National Press Club on Tuesday, 1 week before President Obama travels to Cuba to meet with President Raul Castro.
From Cuba, the embargo is called El Bloqueo and blamed by the Cuban government for all of Cuba's economic and physical woes. It's caca del toro. It's baloney. Cuba trades with more than 80 countries around the world, and the U.S. is among Cuba's top 5 trading partners. El Bloqueo, the embargo, is caca del toro. No, the real problem is productivity. How productive can a workforce be when the national monthly average income on a per capita basis is $18.20? If the U.S. wants the government of Cuba to get out of the way of the island's emerging private sector, then the U.S. government also needs to get out of the way. Congress needs to grow a pair, cry me a river, build me a bridge, and get over the failure of the embargo by lifting it.
Gross was jailed in 2009 for importing banned satellite communications equipment to Cuba as part of a U.S. effort to help Cubans get online. And Chipotle says sales trends are showing improvement, but we're still down 26% for February. This as it tries to recover from a series of scares. The drop in sales at locations for February follows a 36% decline in January. The results were boosted by an extra day in the month this year. Chipotle Mexican Grill is trying to bounce back after an E. coli outbreak and other incidents sent sales plummeting starting at the end of October. Executives have since said that the incidents are behind them and that they're stepping up marketing and promotions to get customers back. Credit Suisse analyst Jason West has noted the chain's promotions for free food could be eating into sales. If you're traveling and cannot find us in your area, we stream live at TalkStreamLive.com. More breaking news on the way on this Wednesday morning. It is the 16th day of March. You've got America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Traffic and weather together at 8:27. Good morning, Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
Russell, good morning. Thanks very much. 153 North Cape Mall Drive, still working an accident there. One on 153 at Shepherd Road. Well, it's between Shepherd and Chalford. We had an accident there a little bit earlier as well. 153 south at DuPont Parkway. The shoulder block there, I understand, this morning with TDOT on the scene. I think they're clearing the accident we had there, excuse me, just a little bit earlier. Russell, this report of service of EPB Fiber Optics. Free tickets to local events, special giveaways, new TV channels, free previews of HBO, Showtime, and more. Follow EPB of Chattanooga on Facebook and Twitter. Good morning, Mike Wood in the traffic center. Hot News Talk Radio, of course, AM 1240.
67 degrees in Chattanooga from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. That temperature is going to be going up to 75 for our high today and 43 for the low, 44 for the low, I should say, overnight. And that's going to be one of the colder days this week. Actually, we'll be warming up a little bit tomorrow. But temperatures are on a net going down. Sunday is going to be the coldest day that we've seen in a while, actually, with Sunday going all the way down to 57 for the high and 33 for the low. Rain's expected over the weekend, by the way, highs in the 60s over Saturday, low 40 chance of rain. What I'm really worried about, though, is overnight, Sunday to Monday, because that 33 could change to 32. Of course, the freezing point of water over in higher elevations, particularly Lookout Mountain and Signal Mountain. So if you are going to be traveling around and you live on Signal or Lookout Mountain, be careful of icing, especially in your driveway or over overpasses. That's always causing problems for us. So watch out for that if you're going to be traveling around at all on Sunday night to Monday morning. Next week, highs in the 60s and 70s, lows in the 30s, all the way up to the 50s later on. Rain is expected over the weekend, next weekend too, so keep that in mind. That's your weather update from us here at the Weather Center at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Police are currently searching in North Georgia for a carjacking suspect. Apparently, a car was stolen on Gun Barrel Road at the Walmart just a few minutes ago, less than an hour ago. The police are looking for the North Georgia vehicle. The victim's phone, which was left inside the vehicle, is now being used to help track it. The CPD is searching for the carjacking that originated at Gun Barrel Road on Walmart, at Walmart this morning. The vehicle is a black 2012 Dodge Ram crew pickup truck, Tennessee license plate F8392X. And WRCB confirms that the vehicle was last seen on Tennessee Avenue in the St. Elmo area. The search has been extended to Rossville and into Chickamauga as well. Of course, that's right on the Georgia border. Tennessee Avenue, very familiar with that area. If you happen to live there, keep an eye out for a black 2012 Dodge Ram crew cab pickup truck. Tennessee license plate F8392X. That's Tennessee license plate F8392X. If you're behind that vehicle, call the police and tell them where you are, because you may just help them locate that vehicle, which has just been stolen from the Walmart on Gun Barrel Road on Wednesday morning. The vehicle's, again, a black 2012 Dodge Ram crew pickup, license plate Tennessee F8392X. If you happen to see that, call the police. You may have just helped them solve a crime. The Sevier County juvenile judge has declined to order the Ottawa basketball player to go to adult court, normally just called criminal court. Instead, He's going to be sent to juvenile court despite the fact that he's 18 and the crime was aggravated. Judge Dwight Stokes says that the charges are aggravated, I should say. Judge Dwight Stokes said the juvenile court was much better able to rehabilitate the youth who has since turned 18. He says that the case will be held in juvenile court where the accused will be facing much less punishment than he would in criminal court. He declined at this time to consider bond for the youth. This is, of course, in the Ottawa rape case, one of the suspects, the defendant now, in this case. If you want to get fit, make sure you go to Pound Gym. That's Pound's Gym. Go to lbsgym.fit for more information. It's Soddy Dacey's brand new 24/7 gym. That's lbsgym.fit. It's going on Tennessee Valley. It's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd, right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
In the middle of our street.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780 or visit our website at sabrinarealty.com.
Expect more warm spring-like weather for your Wednesday. We'll see some sunshine mixing with a few clouds, becoming a little breezy, highs mid-70s. Tonight, lows only to the mid-50s. For Thursday, back into the mid-70s. Could see a shower or two Thursday night with more breezy and warm weather for Friday. The Fresh All New Wine Conference at Abba's House continues today and tomorrow. Pastor Ron Phillips welcomes Perry Stone, Tommy Bates, and others for this week of encouragement and renewal. For more, FONW.com. And I'm Swarsheen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You're listening to America's Morning News.
Good Wednesday morning. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on this 16th day of March, 34 minutes past the hour. I'm Matt Ray. Here's what we're following this morning.
This is another Super Tuesday for our campaign.
Nobody has ever in the history of politics received the kind of negative advertising that I have.
Trump and Clinton move closer to a potential fall showdown.
This tragedy happened on my watch. I did not make the catastrophic decision to provide drinking water without corrosion control treatment.
Finger pointing at a congressional hearing on Flint's water crisis.
I will be traveling next week to Moscow to meet with President Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in order to discuss how we can effectively move the political process forward.
Cautious optimism over Russia's partial withdrawal from Syria. We're crossing the nation and sweeping the globe to bring you all of today's top stories. And we start with Tuesday's primaries, both presidential frontrunners strengthening their positions in the quest for the Republican and Democratic nominations following primaries in 5 states. Donald Trump won 3 and lost 1. That was Ohio, where Governor John Kasich got a home court win. Florida Senator Marco Rubio left the race after losing his home state to Trump. Hillary Clinton went 4 for 5 against Bernie Sanders. Only Missouri remains too close to call on both sides of the aisle. Well, Texas Senator Ted Cruz lost Tuesday's major winner-take-all contests in Florida and Ohio, but still he says it was a good night. The GOP presidential candidate told a group of supporters that he'd like former Marco Rubio supporters to join his campaign.
Tonight, we continue to gain delegates and continue our march to 1,237.
And after tonight, America now has a clear choice going forward. Let me say a word about Marco Rubio. Marco is a friend. He's a colleague. He ran a strong, optimistic, positive campaign. To those who supported Marco, who worked so hard, we welcome you with open arms. Every Republican has a clear choice. Only two campaigns have a plausible path to the nomination: ours and Donald Trump's. Nobody else has any mathematical possibility whatsoever. Only one campaign has beaten Donald Trump over and over and over again.
Yeah, you heard him there. He did not mention Ohio Governor John Kasich, who did capture his home state on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Senator Bernie Sanders looking past Tuesday's losses to Hillary Clinton, who won at least 4 of 5. In his speech to supporters in Phoenix, he barely discussed them.
This campaign is doing well because we are listening to the American people and not just wealthy campaign contributors. The reason that Donald Trump will never be elected president is the American people will not accept insults to Mexicans, Muslims, or women. Now, the Congress may not talk about it much. The media may not talk about it much, but it is unacceptable to me and the American people when the top 0.1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. Next week, Arizona has a very important election. We will win. We will win if the voter turnout is high. Let's make it high. Thank you all very much.
Clinton now has about 2/3 of the delegates needed to clinch the nomination. The head of the rail system that serves the nation's capital and its Virginia and Maryland suburbs says the system is shutting down for at least a full day. This after a fire near one of the system's tunnels. Metro head Paul Wedfield said the system will be shut down all of today.
While the investigation is ongoing, the preliminary findings show commonalities with the cable fire at the Font Plaza a year ago. While the risk to public is very low, I cannot rule out a potential life safety issue here, and this is why we must take this action immediately. When I say safety is our highest priority, I mean it. That sometimes means making tough, unpopular decisions, and this is one of those for sure. I fully recognize the hardship this causes to the region and to the community. I'm announcing that we will suspend rail service for 24 hours to inspect 600 underground, what we call jumper cables. That means the entire rail system will be closed until 5 a.m. Thursday. If we find any additional cables that require replacement, we'll announce those to the public as soon as possible. What additional track outages will be needed and any impacts to our service to our customers beyond the next 24 hours.
That shut down a big deal, a very busy corridor. A fire on the tracks led to major delays throughout the system Monday. It was caused by the same electrical component that malfunctioned last year, causing a train to fill with smoke inside of a downtown Washington tunnel. The chief prosecutor in Prince George's County says she thinks murder charges are appropriate for two brothers who police say helped their suicidal older brother attack a police station. A county police detective was killed by friendly fire in a shootout with 22-year-old Michael Ford Sunday. Cops say his younger brothers, Malik and Elijah, used their cell phones to record footage of the shootout as well as their brother's last will and testament before he started firing. State's attorney Angela Alsobrooks said at a news conference Tuesday that she's moving forward with the charges despite a court commissioner not finding probable cause to support them.
Police in this case have had an opportunity to review the facts, and based on the facts that the police have presented, we have filed the following charges against Elijah and Malik. Attempted murder. There are 6 counts of attempted murder, 3 counts of first-degree assault, and conspiracy to commit murder. We anticipate that Elijah and Malik will be presented for a bond hearing tomorrow at 1:15. They are currently being held without bond. We will absolutely request that they remain in a no bond status pending their trial. As you've heard from the police preliminarily, we know that it was friendly fire. We believe that killed this officer, but in terms of the other details, those are things that we will learn in the course of our review. Officer Colson was a wonderful officer from all accounts. He showed up, he was brave, he was courageous, he was a defender. He put himself out as a person who was to protect us, and having someone intentionally kill a person who was designated by this community as a defender is something we take very seriously, and we will act accordingly.
Michael Ford was shot during the gunfight with police. He remains hospitalized. He's not yet been formally charged. An Environmental Protection Agency official who resigned as the Flint water crisis worsened says she doesn't think anybody at the EPA did anything wrong, but more could have been done. Susan Hedman was grilled by Republican lawmakers on Tuesday. Members of the panel accused her of dismissing warnings from an EPA scientist who sent a June 2015 memo about dangerously high levels of lead in Flint's drinking water.
This tragedy happened on my watch. I did not make the catastrophic decision to provide drinking water without corrosion control treatment. I did not vote to cut funding for water infrastructure or for EPA. And I did not design the imperfect statutory framework that we rely on to keep our water safe. But I was the regional administrator when this crisis occurred.
She says the agency responded within the framework of the Safe Drinking Water Act, which leaves it up to states to implement drinking water regulations. More breaking news on the way on this Wednesday morning. America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks.
America's Morning News. America's Morning News. We'll be right back.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Traffic and weather together at 8:44. Good morning. This is Russell Stroud here at Hot News Talk Radio. I'm the news director. We're looking at the traffic right now, where Waze is reporting heavy traffic on I-75 South right after the split, going from 75 or 24 north into East Ridge, or 24 west into East Ridge, and then 75 north heading towards Ottawa. It's just around the East Brainerd area right there. There's been a report from Waze of heavy traffic just at the 75 split. If you continue taking 75 north towards East Brainerd, there's been a report of an accident there. Further up north, closer to Red Bank, there's also been a report of a accident which has just been cleared up. So it looks like there's actually no need to mention that, just been cleared up. There's also road construction going on around the Chattanooga area, particularly downtown. There's an event which is closed to the roadway on West 12th Street, according to the Waze app. And also on Wilcox Boulevard, there is also construction going on. Not too much going on in the terms of in the realm of traffic. Not a whole lot going on. We'll keep you updated though throughout the hour on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Looking at the weather now, it's still about 67 degrees in Chattanooga from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center, and that temperature is going to continue to rise. Actually, 69 just got updated. Going to continue to rise up to 75 for the high and 44 for our low. Later on in the day, mostly just going to be partly cloudy today. Clear tomorrow, no chance of rain, 73 for the high, 45 for the low. Going to be a great day tomorrow. Friday,